Welcome back. Let's now move on to manage. Everything you see here, they either let you manage the resources that are being provisioned or you can connect to external resources. From here, you can create connections and things like that. So the top three are the pools. As you know, we got the SQL pools, and you can have a serverless or a dedicated pool, and you've got Spark pools and the Data Explorer pools. On all of them, you can either create a new one or you can stop an existing one which is being run, or you can delete one which is already being created. The only exception for that is you can't do anything with a built-in serverless pool, because that comes with your Synapse workspace and you don't create them, you don't delete them. So if you wanted to create a dedicated SQL pool, you would come over, click plus new here, and then you can just specify your configuration and then that will be created. Similarly, you can create Spark pools here as well, and once you've created them, you can go and stop them or delete them or do whatever you like. And I said before, the other option you got is to create connections to external services. So for example, if you want to connect to blob storage or a SQL database, you would come here, you will create something called a linked service. We'll talk about that later down the course as well, when we talk about pipelines and triggers. In this case, we already have three, and let me explain what those three are. The bottom one, which is the Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, is our primary storage, which we attach to the Synapse workspace. And that's automatically created at the time of the workspace being created. Similarly, the one above is a SQL Server connection that was created when the Synapse workspace was created, and we gave the SQL Server admin and the password and everything, so based on that information, this linked service is being created as well. And these two here are the ones which are created when we brought in the sample datasets. And if you wanted to create further ones, you can go to plus new and then you can create a linked service to any of the services being listed. At the moment, there are about 90 plus connectors offered by Synapse, which you can use to connect to various services. And the other thing you've got is connection to Microsoft Purview. So if you have an Azure Purview account, you can connect to that and you can register your datasets and you can do data discoveries and data lineage and all of those good things. And the two things you are seeing under integration are related to integrates. They are related to pipelines. Once you've created a pipeline, you want to trigger the pipeline, so you can come in here and create a trigger which will trigger the pipeline at a regular interval. And similarly, when you run a pipeline, you want to have an integration runtime, so that's being defined here. If you want to create different integration runtimes, which you can do that as well here. And security, you can manage access control here by default. The user who created the workspace is the administrator, that's me over here. And also there is a service principal created for the workspace itself, and that's an administrator. But if you want to add more people to it, you would come over here and then you can just add more people to it and assign different roles as well, because there are a number of different roles that you can assign. Not everybody has to be an administrator. You can have users and managers and things like that. And also, if you want to create a managed identity, then you can come over here and create managed identity that is already one created for the workspace here. And if you want to bring in a jar or something to be used in your Spark notebooks, then you can just come in here, upload the jars, and then they'll be available within the Synapse workspace. And the last thing, which is an important one, is Git configuration. It's okay when you are exploring and learning about the tool to not have a source control configuration. But once you are in proper development or production, you want to enable your workspace to Git, you've got two options there. You can either configure Azure DevOps Git or a GitHub repository. So once you've enabled them instead of the publish we were saying previously, you would see a save button so you can save it as you go along. And once you've done that, say, for example, you are in Azure DevOps, you can go and create pull requests and you can have reviews and all that good stuff. And also, once you've configured to Git instead of Synapse Live, what you will see is a branch here, so whether it could be a master branch or a feature branch or something like that. That's what you would see in this drop-down as well. So that's everything about manage. So that's the end of this session, and I'll see you in the next one.